Um, Sometimes you get burnt up, and how do you suck, suck this in and still maintain, put up a smile on your face?
It's day by day, and I do a lot of laughing. It's funny. Things are funny to me. Did I really just eat that? I just laugh a lot and whatever. Like last weekend, I really wanted strawberry shortcake, and so I had strawberry shortcake. It's not good for me, but I injected for it, and I still went high and whatever. But like, if you deny yourself everything always, you're gonna, have maybe a huge binge. Where I occasionally have a little treat, and it's a little treat that I need to correct for, and it's
I did a good video on the Diabetic Police. It was very funny, hilarious, and I saw that. So, can you explain, like, what are this kind, 3 or 4 kinds of police who keep policing?
Well, you should watch the YouTube video if you haven't. I'll say that first. But there's basically, when you think about people kind of policing your behaviors, you should assume good intent. Like, people love you and they want to help you, and they think that they're doing that. So the video kind of goes into different personality types and different approaches to how your loved ones are going to police your behaviors as a diabetic. There's people who kind of want to constantly remind you to test your blood sugar or inject with insulin or count your carbohydrates, but you need to maybe redirect them towards something that you always forget, or just make them feel useful in some way. When I'm with my mom and I'm eating, she always like screams, and she's like, "Did you test your blood sugar?" or "Did you inject insulin?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I really don't ever forget that. Why are you screaming at me?" So that's one personality type. Another personality type is somebody who kind of reads a lot about or reads occasional articles about diabetes, and articles come out every day. I could find 5 or 10 a day on new approaches towards diabetes management, what have you. And the guy that really gets on my nerves is somebody who's like, "Oh, I read once in, an article from a magazine in 1986 about diabetes management." I'm like, things have changed, buddy. And so one way to deal with him is kind of like just educate him, because he doesn't want to give you bad information. He's just trying to relay information he saw. So that's one person. Another person, this is the only person in the diabetes police force who doesn't actually care about you. There's someone, I call her Gloomy Glenda. She's kind of like the lady who tells you bad news all the time. So, you refill a plastic bottle and she's like, "That's going to give you cancer." Or she sees you put Splenda in your coffee and she tells you all the reasons Splenda is bad. And usually this person has like their own issues they're kind of not dealing with, and they're trying to like spread out the gloom, if you will. And my advice for her is just avoid her if you can. Just don't be around her, because nothing good's going to happen. So that's pretty much the diabetes police. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody in there because the video was longer than...
I know you have been through this phase where you had to pay the diabetic costs by yourself, pay for your insulin, pay for your test strips and all this stuff.
It is close to impossible to live uninsured and have diabetes. Like, the costs are just crazy. I was very lucky to find a nurse practitioner who saw me for pretty cheap, and we talked about diabetes, and she kind of walked me through a lot of stuff. I paid cash for everything, but I was very straightforward with her. Doctors understand that medicine is incredibly overpriced, and if you tell them I'm uninsured, I'm unemployed, or whatever your situation is, if you explain it to them, they're going to do their best to help you, because their ultimate goal is for you to be healthy. I'm not going to knock doctors at all, but my doctor never spent enough time with me. The nurse practitioner I found sat down and we chatted. She understood my job search. She understood that I just got a job. She knew everything about me, so that when I told her I was uninsured, you can write me a prescription for insulin, but it probably won't get filled for a few weeks. She was very understanding, and she gave me samples. I got a lot of samples of insulin because I told her I can't afford insulin for 2 weeks. She gave me 2 weeks worth of insulin so that when I could afford it, things were good. And then also just jumping back to diabetes, there's a post I wrote on there about uninsured and being diabetic, and there were 85 responses of people that have been there or who had suggestions. And, you know, I bring this up again, but like reusing syringes was crazy. Like a box of syringes is $30. If I can make that last twice as long, that's really helpful. So stuff like that. I mean, social network, talk to people, talk to your doctor, talk, and you'll get answers.
So it's just you have to go out there, and there is a lot of help out there. You just have to hustle and find.
I wouldn't say a lot of help, but there's help out there. Insulin companies, they have plans to help people that are uninsured. I was in a weird situation where I quit a job where I made decent money and was living a few months, 6 months without insurance, and there's no help for me because my last year's tax returns show money. This year's, you know, it's just happening. So if you've been uninsured for a while, if you're unemployed for a while or something, look into plans by insulin companies because they do offer help and assistance.
But is it really possible to find a real soulmate doctor that you talked?
My last doctor, I'm still kind of filling out my current doctor. My last doctor, it's funny you use the word soulmate. I don't know if I'm not sure if I vlogged this or not, but...
You did.
Oh, good. My last doctor, we broke up. She was kind of, she used Dr. Bernstein's approach to diabetes management, which put me from, my A1C before I saw her was like ridiculous, like a 13. And then my A1C after being with her for a year was like 6.3. So bless her heart, she did what she was supposed to do. But I was so unhappy. And she was having me have about 12 grams of carbohydrates per meal. And it was tough. So I went in and I said, like, here's a list of things that I need to be happy. Can you help me achieve these things? And she said, that's not exactly my approach. Look at your numbers. We're doing well. And I said, numbers versus like happiness. Like, where's the line and how do we get there? So we had a conversation where it was like, it's not you, it's me. I got to move on. And so we broke up, and I'm filling out my current doctor. Is there a way to find a soulmate doctor? I've heard of people that love their doctors and have great relationships with them. I'm just not there yet. So hopefully I'll find my soulmate, and I'll keep dating until I do.
That's a good one. And is it like there are doctors who are not diabetic? So do you think there is a lot of difference for the ones like who find a doctor who is already a diabetic and the way he treats the people than a person who is not diabetic?
The doctor I told you about, the kind of controversial one with Dr. Bernstein, she had type 2, and it was very nice to hear her say, or like, I'll show her my morning numbers, and she's like, why do you go high in the morning? I'm like, well, I can't give up my coffee. I drink it with half and half in Splenda. Why is that making me go up so high or go up at all? And she's like, well, half and half, a few carbs. Why don't you try heavy whipping cream? That's what I do. So her knowledge, knowing like cut out half and half, try heavy whipping cream, that's knowledge that not every doctor, just a general practitioner, is going to have. So that was nice. And she gave me restaurant suggestions. She's like, I always go to this place and I order that. So like that real life knowledge is the reason I go to 2 Diabetes. That's why I talk to people on Facebook and Twitter, because a doctor's not going to tell me, you know, a good dessert option or a sugar-free drink at Starbucks, because that's not where his brain's at. So, yes, I think that it's beneficial, but and the doctor I'm seeing now, he's kind of not exactly connected to diabetes the way my last one was, and I still feel like I'm getting quality care. I mean, he's a professional and he's incredibly smart. You have to be a doctor, right? So he's a professional. He's a medical professional, and he's giving me quality care. So it's not impossible.
Okay, here is the last question to you. So, what are some of the things that you really learn hard way? You are out there, and no one didn't teach you. It's only you that went through the phase, and you learn hard way.
I went through a phase where I ignored diabetes, primarily because of cash. It just got entirely too expensive, and I'm gonna try to see how long I could really go without insulin or checking my blood sugar. That was the biggest mistake I've made in my life. I ended up in the hospital with a huge hospital bill, so I saved really no money. It cost me. Just don't ignore it. I'll go have a dessert. I'll go have, some cheesecake if I want cheesecake. I'll have a piece of cake. I'll have whatever. But I will inject for it, and I will remember, I don't know if I want to call it a mistake, but I had this treat, and I need to make sure I correct for it or be aware of what it's doing to me. You can't ignore it. It's 365 days,
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much on being on this show and sharing your experience. This means a lot to the diabetic community, and also thank you for your suggestions, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.